by the Chancellor. That's something of great concern.
You can't.
Oh, now
All right.
Now we can.
Okay. So what is the page for today?
$143, I think, Bante.
140.
No, sign answer. We stopped at 138
Okay.
after discussing that the door-free consciousnesses. So we start from the bottom of 138 according to the situation. Yatha Sambhavan.
That's correct, Bante.
All right. 138, the bottom of 138. All
Yes.
right. So page number 138. According to the situation, yatha sambhava. So yatha would means, yatha brings in the meaning of the present. It can be the current situation, right? So sambhavam is the quality or the reality, right? So yatha sambhavam, here it has been taken as according to the situation, right? The Vibhavini Tika explains this phrase to mean that the object cognized by the mind, though freed, chitta varies according to the door at which it was originally apprehended. Right? The Vibhavani Tika explains this phrase to mean that the object cognized by the door-free chitta varies according to the door at which it was originally apprehended. By the last mental process of the preceding life, according to whether it is a present or past object or a concept, and according to whether it is a karma, a sign of karma, and a sign of destiny. The explanation is as follows. Right now we are talking about the door-freed. Remember what the door-freed is? It is the the process of bhavanga, rebirth, linking, and chuti. Right now, in the case of the sense sphere rebirth, any one of the 5 sense objects apprehended in the case of the sense sphere rebirth, right? Any one of the 5 sense objects apprehended in any of the 6 doors in the last Javana process of the preceding existence. Last Javana process, this is referring to the Chuti process, right? The Chuti process of the last birth, right, preceding existence, may become an object as a sign of karma, right, as a sign of karma. Such an object on the occasions of rebirth, linking, and the first series of the bhavangas can be either past or present, right? Can either be past or present, meaning for when that object is taken by the stream of bhavanga in the chuti or the dying conscious process, right? Dying conscious process, that object can be either past or present, right? This is what enables even a past object to be manipulated if we had the strength to do so, right? If we had the strength to do so. It can be present. It can be present because it can be present. It can be present because the sense object apprehended by the last Javana process of the previous existence may still persist as far as the first few mind moments of the new existence. Thereafter, for the Bhavanga and for the death consciousness of the new existence, that object is necessarily past. Right? Understood? Any questions, anyone?
Bhante, sorry, can you give an example for that in the last bit that you
Yeah,
said?
we will go through it again.
Please.
Okay. Such an object on the occasions of rebirth linking in the first series of the Bhavangas can be the past or present. It can be present because the sense object apprehended by the last Javana process of the previous existence may still persist as far as a few mind moments of the new existence. What does this mean? How does it happen? Kammaja Rupas, right? Kammaja Rupa process, the effects of the past Bhavanga, how it affects in the new course of existence, how it molds the new course of existence. That is how now the object is past, right? Past. And last John Powell, previous existence may still persist as far as a few mind moments of the new existence. Thereafter for the Bhavanga, meaning the consciousness which led to the Chuti is the main Bhavanga foundation of the Bhavanga consciousness of the whole existence. So now at this current moment, your Bhavanga Chitta is molded by the previous Chuti Chitta that you died from in your previous existence, right? But understand, this Bhavanga, I think I've also mentioned this before, this Bhavanga now would usually be a Trihetuka Chitta, right? It is the essence of that Trihetuka Chitta or the three-rooted Chitta which flourishes as Bhavanga at current rather than anything else or any of the other details, right? Rather than any of the other details. Now, thereafter for the Bhavanga and for the death consciousness of the new existence, that object is necessarily past. So for the Bhavanga, the preceding mind moments of the new existence, right? For those, the object of that previous Javana of the past existence is a past object, right? That is what it is saying, right? Moving on. Okay, Anuma?
Thank you, Bhante.
Object apprehended in the mindo, a mental object apprehended at the mindo. In the last Dharma process of the previous existence may become an object of the rebirth linking Bhavanga and the death consciousness of the new existence as a kamma nimitta that is past, as a kamma nimitta or sign of kamma that is past. If the object should be a sign of destiny, it is usually a visible form apprehended in the mind, though, which is present. Remember, I told you, in the instances of a gati nimitta or a sign of destiny, where you will surely go. Now, this sign comes up as a present object, meaning you will see hallucinations of fire. You will see hallucinations of clouds or divine beings. You will see hallucinations of riches. You will see different hallucinations, which signs or points out to you that this could potentially be your next existence. And we also do have many people who, before their death, who do come through saying that they are seeing these different sort of hallucinations and visions, right? Now that is taken up as a present object, as a present object, whereas a kamma and a kamma nimitta is taken up as a past object because that is a result of a whole process, which can be a result that you have seen through one of the 6 sensory doors. It doesn't necessarily have to be something which is there visually, right? So in that case, what happens is when it is a kamma or a kamma nimitta, right? Now, for example, if you would take kamma, this could be your anger, right? This could be something which flourishes and pops up as your anger. The kamma nimitta, the sign of the kamma could be a trigger, right? A trigger. Now let's say there are certain things which are triggers for you, triggers for your anger, triggers for your different other sort of emotions and all of that, right? Now then the sign of kamma, the kamma nimitta operates in that way. Now those triggers or those memories or whatever sort of gives rise to any sort of emotion in that way will be something which is past, right? That trigger, that anchor is created in the past. Do you understand? Right? Now, for example, what I mean by an anchor, you have a fight with a friend, and when you see this friend, you remember that. Now, the friend is your anchor. Where was that anchor created? A year ago or 2 years ago, or maybe more than that, when you initially had that fight, right? In that way, past. Yes, dear.
So Bante, what you told us last time about Navine Bante seeing all those chariots of like divine beings, so that was a Gati Nimitta then, because that was something in the present.
Not Venerable Navina, Venerable Navina Bante's teacher. Yes.
Yes. Thank you, Bante.
Now, in the case of a fine material sphere rebirth, the object of the 3 process-freed chittas is a mental object apprehended in the mind-o process of the preceding existence. It is a concept, hence timeless, and is considered a sign of karma. So too, in the case of rebirth into the first and the third immaterial planes, in the case of rebirth into the second and fourth immaterial planes, the object being a chitta is a mental object. It is past and it is also considered a sign of karma. It is past and it is also considered a sign of karma. I can see that we might need to repeat that paragraph. In the case of a fine material sense, fine material sphere rebirth, we know what that is talking about, right? This is talking about the fine material, the Rupa Vachara rebirth in a Rupa Vachara plane, right? The object of the 3 process-free chittas is a mental object apprehended at the mind-o process of the preceding existence. Now, what would this object be? Possibly a jhana, right? Possibly a jhana, right? Or something relating to the sublime consciousnesses of the jhana, right? Now, that is why in the next, when we say it is a concept, right? Now the attributes that we developed, in terms of the jhana with the kasina, with the object that we sort of perceive as the kasina, and then move on to sort of, this is a concept that we create, right, in our mind. And it is through that concept that we are able to step into or enter into these states of mind, right? That is why it is said here, it is a concept and is considered a sign of karma. Now, what happens during this? Now, what happens during a karma nimitta, sign of karma? This nimitta can appear to you, right? This nimitta can now appear to you, and when this nimitta now appears to you, you have a bond with this nimitta. right? You have a sense of this nimitta in a more holistic, in a more well-being, in a more wholesome sense. This nimitta is also a trigger for you, but not in a bad sense, but a trigger in sense of something which reminds you of your practice, something which enables you to step into that mental mind frame of what you have experienced in that practice. Understood? Yes. So,
Okay.
yes,
Can I ask a question?
yes,
Now, when it comes to fine material,
yeah,
assume that somebody is dying while they are in the jhana, right? And then the object of his meditation is not jhana, but the concept, like kasina or body or breathing or anything.
yeah.
So practically, because his object is kasina, then your next birth cannot be the object, cannot be considered as a kasina, right? So
Well,
let me explain to you why. Because I have heard
yeah,
that if really people can't die while they are in the deep jhana.
yeah,
You have to come out from the jhana.
absolutely.
That's. So that means, can you explain that little bit?
So, first of all, a dhyanic practitioner, right, can have two results of death. One is in that corresponding plane of existence, meaning fine materials plane, immaterial plane, right? Whatever the plane might be, whichever level of the plane, whatever it must be corresponding. That is one. The other is because of determination, meaning you do not want to go into a Brahmic state. Because of that determination, you are not reborn in a immaterial or a fine material plane. But that is wholly because of your determination. Now, that is what happens to Buddhas as a bodhisattvas, right? Because that is why when they would sort of attain to certain states of immaterial and fine material states of meditation, they do not go into these spheres, because that would mean that they would have to stick around for longer, basically, right? So they do not. So they continue on the human realm, the animal realm. They continue along these sense sphere realms to develop on their paramis, right? But that comes with, remember, that is enabled by, even with the concept, remember, take it to heart. Now, this is a concept. The concept was able to mold our whole entire next existence, right? This is to say, as if you are able to believe in whatever concept that you feed the mind, you will be able to control the result of the mind. That is what aditthana is, right? Even in aditthana, powerful aditthanas are made, or determinations are made with a samadhi mind, they say. Why? Not because of the miraculous efforts of the samadhi, but because the mind can focus and determine without any doubt in mind, right? So that is one. So please note that in your mind. Now, Damsiri's question. Now, yes, you will never die in a jhana. You have to always come out. That is why the element of, or the element of the kamma nimitta, or the gati nimitta, whatever it is, probably a kamma nimitta, sign of kamma, is this sign, the concept that we have worked with in that time of our practice, right? That is why it doesn't become the jhana. We will never die from a jhana. We will never die from a nirodha samapatti even. right? Even the Nirodha Samapatti, remember there are stories, someone tries to go into Nirodha Samapatti, cannot enter, Arahant, right? Checks on what's happening around, goes ask the Buddha, what is happening? You don't have, your lifespan is shorter than 7 days, so you can't enter into Nirodha Samapatti, right? Your lifespan is shorter than seven days. It is a little bit of a mind twist how that present consciousness knows that. That is another story. That is another story, how that present consciousness knows that. That's another story. Please don't ask me why, because I don't know the answer to that. but that is the way it is. In any of the Parasamapattis, Jhana Samapattis, you will not be able to die in meditation. Right? That will not happen. That is why it is the concept of the sign that we have meditated with becomes the Kamma Nimitta. Right? Becomes the Kamma Nimitta. Because when that sign appears to us, there is an essence of what that sign represents that is strong with us. Do you understand? Just like, for example, seeing a friend that you have had a very bad fight with, that friend represents a story to us. That affects us, right? It is somewhat in that manner, right? So moving on. Can we move on? Damsiri, okay? Yes? Okay. Usually, yebu yena, right? This qualification is added with reference to those are reborn after passing away from the realm of non-percipient beings, asanya satta. Yebuyena. This qualification is added with reference to those reborn after passing away from the realm of non-percipient beings, a realm in the fine material plane where consciousness is altogether absent. For such beings, the object of the door-freed chittas cannot be something apprehended in the immediately preceding existence, since in that existence there was no consciousness. For these beings, the object presents itself to the rebirth, bhavanga, and death consciousness as a sign of karma, entirely through the power of past karma from an existence prior to that of a non-percipient realm. Right? From a non-percipient realm. Any questions on that? Anyone who would like me to explain a little bit? If you just put your hand up, I will.
Yes, please. I completely didn't understand.
All right, will do.
English not my first language.
Yes, will do. Now,
sorry.
That's fine. In the we've talked about what the non-percipient realm is like. It is a realm where the body exists, but consciousness doesn't. Then we went into discussion and thought, okay, maybe in a sense of light, very, very sort of sensitive, very sort of weak consciousness may be there. But then again, if there is no sanya, there is no consciousness, right? If there is no perception, there is no consciousness, right? This is mentioned within the sutras. So the non-percipient beings, the beings without perception, asanya satta beings, are born into that plane because of whatever states of mind that led to it in its preceding life. So after the time, when it comes to the time that you have to leave the asanya satta plane, when the karma to remain in that state has been sort of, has been drained away, or rather extinguished, whatever, right? Not good words, but yes, yeah, extinguished, or sort of, when it's time for you to move on, that moving on depends on not something within the asana satta plane, which usually happens with all of us. That moving on depends on one of the past signs of karma, of whatever past rebirths before you were reborn as a asanna satta or a non-percipient being. It can be anything. It doesn't necessarily have to be the immediately preceding birth. It can be anything. Anything can come up, right? Anything can come up. This is somewhat like also what happens in hell, right? Somewhat like also what happens in hell. Not that we are sort of say that asanna satta is like hell, no, right? But in hell as well, because there is so much of pain, right? Especially in places like Avicii, it is explained that each and every inch of that plane is fire, it's burning, right? And because of that, you would imagine now when we burn ourselves, if it is a candle or a matchsticks or a light or whatever it is, if we burn ourselves, what is the chitta that arises?
A domanassa chitta.
Domanassa chitta. A domanassa chitta arises with the friction towards the pain, right? With the friction towards the pain. Imagine if you are in hell for an eon, let's say, how many domanassa chittas, moment to moment, right, would we be developing? So how can we then come out of that state? It has to be something to do with something in the past, right? Which then pops up and then we break through, right? Or else, if we are depending upon, if our lives, if the nature depends on a consciousness that has been developed within the realms of hell, we are never going to be coming out.
Yeah.
We are never going to be coming out, right? We are never going to be coming out. So that is what is explained here. Do you understand, Pushpa? Right?
Yes.
Yes. Susan, yes?
Yes. Better.
Good. Pushpa?
Bhante, we talked about a realm where there is no consciousness, but only the body.
Yeah. That is asanna satta. That is the non-percipient beings that we were talking about now.
Yeah. So if there is no consciousness, how can a consciousness come at the very end of that life?
Again, throwing me into a ditch. Huh? Okay. that is Pushpa, one of the questions that is not answered, right? It is one of those questions that are not answered. It is said, we know, as within the asanna satta being, but actually even this, right? The death consciousness, now let us say, I am praying, or someone is praying, or someone is doing something, right? Someone is sleeping. Let's take sleeping, right? Someone is sleeping. A murderer or a thief comes into the house, right? Does something that kills a person. The person dies even without knowing that there was a robber or a thief or a murderer in the house, right? Let's take that. Although we did not expect it, although it was a bhavanga which was running in our minds, right? Sleep is bhavanga, right? Although it was that which was running in our minds, or maybe even if it was a dream, regardless of whether you know or you do not know, the chuti process runs. The chuti process will happen almost instantaneously, right? Now let us say, just imaginary examples. You are walking in the forest, you are going for a beautiful walk, you're loving it. There is a booby trap, right? Covered by leaves and all of that, a trap for animals that you fall, and there are spikes on the ground that you would sort of fall to your death. You do not know any of this. You are having a lovely walk and then you fall. In that moment of death, it will arise instantaneously. It will, right? I think that same law would apply for the Asanna Satta. Because it is that chitta itself, that process itself, which does the cheda kriya. What is the cheda kriya? The function of cutting away, right? What does the function of cutting away does? It separates this existence from the next. That itself is done by that consciousness. That process of dying viti, chuti, chitta viti. Do you get it? So I think that regardless of whatever the nature is, there must be a chedana, right? To help in that cheda process, the chuti will always arise regardless of whatever plane it is. Regardless of whatever plane it is, right? So even if it is in the realms of hell and you have now coming into, or when your time in Avicii is done, you have to be reborn in a lighter hell, right? Or a lighter existence. It is very rare that one would be reborn right from Avicii into human realm. That is very, very rare. I know in sutras there is often, sometimes, he came from hell. It says this being was reborn or came after spending so long here. Usually it is a process, right? It is a process where, you come into lighter place, and then you are reborn as a human being or whatever existence, right? Which is of less pain or whatnot, right? So that is what is believed, or what we know that happens within the Asanna Satta plane during the time of death.
Or you can explain slightly different way.
Yeah.
So after the Chuti Chitta, your consciousness going into a frozen stage. That means it completely stopped, right? And because it's energy, so sooner or later you have to restart. You have to restart the conditions. So when you restart it, you need a rebirth linking consciousness, but you need the object.
Mm-hmm.
But there are no objects at that time, but you pick the last random, because all the objects, object is a rupa.
Mm-hmm.
So rupa, in that particular case, there's no rupa existing, all completely disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
So the object probably rebirth linking can pick one of many objects we had in your previous lives.
If we say pick, it is
wrong. No, select. I will correct it.
Select, it is wrong.
No, because then you have no other option, because you have to have an object for the new rebirth linking. So
that is where Damsiri, the thing is, that is where come operates.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. So according to whatever powerful karma, it will befall the consciousness, really.
That's right. Yeah.
Rather sort of come and lay on the consciousness or something of that sort.
Yeah. It's a karma nimitta in that case.
It is a karma nimitta.
Yeah.
It is a karma nimitta. It is a karma nimitta, and it is wholly subjective to whatever past karmas that you have.
Yeah.
Right, wholly subject to whatever past karmas that you have. But surely this process of dying within Asanna Satta, right, happens in a way that then the cheda, for the cheda to happen, the Chuti process has to fall.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Moving on. Shall we move on?
Mala says another explanation.
Okay.
Bhavanga pressing the pause button.
I'll be writing another Abhdhamma.
Yeah, that because the bound anyways somehow you have to freeze the bounder. So that's the
it is a complicated because we have so much of less information, right?
Yeah.
Regarding this state. It is a little bit of a tricky place to sort of really connote what really goes on, right? But it remains that no, we'll move on. We'll move on. These are theories. The thing is, neither you nor I can specifically say, okay, this is right.
it's the speculation.
It's just speculation. It's just speculation. And
Yeah.
we are at this point of, I think this is one of the least explained, and at this it is really, we are really going on speculation.
Yeah.
We are really going on speculation. All right, but I'm going to write those questions down actually. All right. Shall we move on? Yeah. Of these, page number 140, after the Pali, of these, eye consciousness, etc., each take a single object, respectively, visible form, etc. But the triple mind element takes all. The triple mind element takes 5 kinds of objects, that is, all sense objects, visible form, etc. The remaining sense sphere resultants and the smiling consciousness always have only sense sphere objects. Always have only sense sphere objects. The remaining sense sphere resultants and the smiling consciousness always have only sense sphere objects. Right? Shall we read that paragraph again? Sujata, you have a question?
I'm stuck somewhere else. I'm sorry about that. It's not a question, Bante. No, sorry.
All right.
Can you tell me what pages are you on, please?
Yes, we are on page number 140.
Okay, thank you.
Of these, eye consciousness, etc., each take a single object, right? Now we are talking about, now this is a continuation, classification of types of consciousness, right? Of these, eye consciousness, etc., each take a single object, respectively, visible form, etc. But the triple mind element takes all 5 kinds of sense objects, visible form, etc. The remaining sense sphere resultants and smiling consciousness always have only sense sphere objects, right? Now, this is referring to what objects, in what forms of object the eye consciousness, they take only the visible objects. The ear consciousness only take the sound object. The tongue takes the taste in that way. When it comes to the triple mind, what is the triple mind element? The process. Is it the process free?
No, the 5 do adverse consciousness and the 2 kinds of receiving consciousness.
Right. So the triple mind element take all kinds of 5 kinds of sense sphere objects, right? They take all kinds of the 5 sense sphere objects, visible forms, etc. Right? Now remember the Santin, Sampradichan, and the Santirana, right? They are there to help in the process of cognition of all sense sphere objects. Right? This will become much more clearer in the Viti chapter again. I can't understand why they're giving all this information before the Viti chapter. It's confusing, isn't it?
That's exactly, that's exactly, Bante.
All our questions are always get stuck on this because we don't know the VT.
Yes, exactly. So, the remaining sense sphere resultant and the smiling consciousness always have only sense sphere objects, right? That is also clear. The sense sphere resultants right, the sense sphere resultants, and the smiling will always have a sense sphere object. The unwholesome consciousnesses and the sense sphere governors that are disassociated from knowledge, yeah, jnana vipayutta, take all objects except supramundane states, right? The unwholesome consciousnesses and the sense sphere governors disassociated from knowledge take all objects except supramundane states, right? The sense sphere wholesome associated with knowledge and the wholesome direct knowledge consciousness consisting in the fifth jhana take all objects except path and fruit of arhatship, right? Take all objects except path and fruit of arhatship. Please make sure that you put like a star or something on this sort of, I'm sure there's a chart or something which will help us later on in the book, right? The sense sphere functionals associated with knowledge, the functional direct knowledge consciousnesses and the determining consciousnesses can all take all kinds of objects.
Can you come back? Can you come back?
Right. Among the immaterial consciousnesses, the second and fourth take subtle objects. All the remaining sublime consciousness take concepts as object, and supramundane consciousnesses take nibbana as object, right? Take nibbana as object. Take nibbana as object. Okay. Now this is the part where we chose that we had to repeat. Okay, this is the part that we chose that we had to repeat. Now, we have gone through, right? We have gone through the consciousnesses, and because of their reasoning, because of their nature, what other objects, what objects they can take as object, right? What can they cognize? What is their potential in cognizing an object, right? Now, was this sort of paragraph clear to you? We will go through it, right? Now back to the top, right? I consciousnesses, etc. each take, come to page number 141, the chart, table 3.5, please. Right? Now, you stay on that chart. I will read it to you. Okay? Of these, the I consciousness, now look at that first bar there. The I consciousness, etc., each take a single object, respectively, visible form, etc. Full stop. Right? Can you see that now? I consciousness takes present visible form. I consciousness cannot take smell. No. Can you smell from the eye? You can't. Can you taste? You can't. You can only take rupa, which is the present visible form, right? So you see I consciousness, present visible form. You see the two there. What is the two? The wholesome and the unwholesome, right? In that way. Now that is that part, right? Then we have the triple mind element. The triple mind element takes all 5 kinds of objects from visible form up until the end. All the 5 sensory objects can be taken by the triple mind element, right? Which is present 5 objects. So what is present 5 objects? It is all to do with the visible form, sound, smell, taste, and tangible object, right? Sampatichana, receiving, investigating these consciousnesses aid and help in the processing of the 5 sensory objects and data received through the 5 sensory bases, right? Data received through the 5 sensory bases. That is why it is said here, the 3-mind element object or the 3-mind element can take any of the 5 sense sphere objects as object. Understood? Right? Any question with regard to that? Okay, moving on, right? Moving on. Now, the remaining sense sphere resultants, right? The remaining sense sphere resultants. Now, remember, now you must, this is where you must have the chitta map in your mind, right? Now, apart from the eye conscious, all the wholesome and unwholesome, remember they were resultant vipaka, wasn't it? Right? Rootless resultants, wholesome and unwholesome. Now, apart from all of the 5 sensory, 5 senses, right? So the 5 sense consciousnesses in wholesome and unwholesome, all the rest of the sense sphere resultants, except that all the rest of the sense sphere resultants and the smiling consciousness always have only sense sphere objects, right? Always will have only sense sphere objects. Now, what is that sense sphere object, right? The sense sphere objects includes, right, anything which is within the realm of sensory perception. Or let me put it in this way, everything which is within the potential of the Kama Vachara Bhumi. Understood? Kamo avachara titi kama vacharo. Why is it called the Kama Vachara Bhumi? Because Kama avachara titi, meaning one which how could you say avachara? You know, sort of raveling, raveling, enjoying, you know, sort of in a way, sort of rolling within the karmas and the sensual pleasures. That is why it is said Kama Vachara, right? Within that potential, all of that. Now, what does that include? The material 28, right? The material 28. All the 28 materials are visible and can be touched within this bhumi, right? There are 52 chetasikas, which is like the salt and pepper to our curry, which brings the taste out and the spices, right? This brings the essence into each and every consciousness, right? And then the 54 sense sphere consciousnesses, the 54 sense sphere consciousnesses, it can take all of that as object, right? Now, do you have in your mind what the 54 sense sphere consciousnesses are? 12. Can we do, unmute your mics, please? Can we do the calculation?
The unwholesome 12, and the rootless 18, and the beautiful 24.
All right. The unwholesome 12, the rootless 18, and the beautiful 24. All comes up to the 54 sense sphere consciousnesses, right? The 54 sense sphere consciousnesses. Right. So that is what we are dealing with. Now, do you understand this now? Do you understand this bar? Right. Now, this is talking about the investigating 3 consciousnesses, 1 smiling consciousnesses, the sense sphere beautiful resultant consciousnesses, because there is no other resultant, isn't it? Is there any other resultant that we have gone through? We have gone through the ahetuka, right? We have gone through the ahetuka. What is remaining is that sense sphere, the other resultants which are left. So we are taking that into. So all of that takes these as object, right? Can take the sense sphere chittas 54, the 52 chetasikas, and material 28. Is that clear? Any questions? Any questions? I feel like there's a question mark behind the head. Why is this question mark there? What is it that we can't understand?
I have one question.
Yes, Susan.
What is the book you are using? What's the title? So I can search on the internet.
Oh,
And
it's on the website.
oh, it's on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go search.
I will put it on here and then go into the classes and the Abhdhamma section. You will find the links there. Okay.
Thank you.
Where Anuma, Padma, clear?
Yes, I'm a bit confused about
Confusion.
investigating consciousness.
Okay.
Now that had the 54 sense sphere consciousnesses, but the others don't receiving and 5-door adverting don't have it.
Okay.
I'm just trying to work out why it is not. There must be a reason.
Let's take the 5-door adverting.
Yeah, okay.
Right? What does the 5 sense door adverting do?
But it only looks like turns your mind towards the object.
Mind towards the whatever sense basis there is.
Yeah.
Right? It does not perform this function where it takes the object. It merely turns the mind.
Yeah. Right.
You understand?
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
The investigating consciousness, the three of them, what they do is they actively help in or is a part of the chitta viti or the processing of the data received through whatever sense base.
Okay.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Right? It is because of that reason that it can take the sense sphere 54, 52, and 28 as object, right?
Okay.
As object. The smiling, we'll take the smiling.
Yeah.
Smiling, the Buddha Arahant will smile taking any sense sphere object as object.
Yes. Okay.
This could include looking at a house and smiling. This could include on looking another scenario on the road and smiling. You know, this can include everything that we also smile for, but in a sense where there is no avidya or tanha.
Okay.
Bhante, but only in the present and the past, no? Not in the future. Am I right? Or I'm wrong? The smiling consciousness, the objects can be from the present.
Here. We are talking about the present here.
Yeah. Okay.
Right?
Right.
We are talking about the present here. So now in the, so that is a smiling, right? That can then we have the sense sphere beautiful resultants, right? The sense sphere beautiful resultants, right, can arise basing itself on the 3 classes of phenomena that we have spoken of, right? Because why? The sense sphere beautiful resultants, right, they are results of a beautiful, now in this case, they are results of whatever karma that we have performed, right? And its arising can happen based on any one of the attributes of the sense sphere. It can arise depending on any attribute of the sense sphere, right? Now, to better understand, do you want an example?
Please, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sense sphere beautiful resultant. Let us take what is the karma that, okay. We can take the karma. This is also without knowledge, I presume. No. So, doing a good deed, right?
Yes.
A good deed being performed, right? Then that karma gives rise to the resultant, which can be a sense sphere beautiful result.
It's a result.
Yeah.
Now, because of that, right, because of the resultant, now we are used to taking sealer and keeping to the precepts, right? We did it due to that practice. We had that resultant. Due to that resultant, next time that we see, something good that we could do, like feeding a poor person, for example, right? That will arise in our mind. Now that resultant arose, taking as object a phenomena within the base of the sense sphere. Within the 28 material, 52 chetasikas and the 54 chittas, consciousnesses. Can you understand now?
Yeah, thank
Right?
you.
Because that homeless person or whoever that you're giving the food to, or now wanting to donate food to, is within that realm, you see. You get it?
Yeah, yeah.
Even if it is a cat, even if it is a cat or a dog. See, a cat or a dog is made out of the same, isn't it? You see, that is how now it takes as object.
Okay.
Did you understand now?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, let's move on. Right now, keep on looking at that chart. Right.
Yes.
The unwholesome consciousnesses and the sense sphere javanas that are disassociated from knowledge take all objects except supramundane states. The unwholesome consciousnesses and sense sphere javanas that are disassociated from knowledge take all objects except supramundane states.
Bhante, it is sensual javanas or sensual beautiful?
Javana.
BT.
It says
book is
Javana
beautiful
here.
on this one.
It's BT. In our book, it says BTF, beautiful.
BTF, yeah.
Yes.
Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. But in the text, it is Javana. In the text, it says sphere Javana.
In the book, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
The sense sphere javanas that are dissociated from knowledge take all objects except supramundane mental states. And then, of course, down there, yes, unwholesome 12, SSBTF, beautiful.
Yes.
Dissociated knowledge. Yeah, anyways, the sense sphere javanas, dissociate from knowledge is the beautiful, I think.
Yeah, I suppose it's the same. Yeah.
All right. So wholesome 4, functional 4. Okay. Now, unwholesome 12, sense sphere beautiful, disassociated from knowledge, wholesome 4, functional 4, right? All take the mundane 81, Chetasikas 52, and material 28, and concept as object except supramundane. Why? Unwholesome, it is clear. Unwholesome cannot comprehend the elements of supramundane. Even now, example, would a ignorant man who has no morality, no concept of what good is, bad to the core, understand something, the feeling, the peace and kindness of generosity? Right? That would be a difficult thing to ask of him, right? In similar manner. Now, that is not to say that he doesn't have the potential for it. That is to say, in that current state of mind, right, with whatever it is, now it's like for a person in the desert, right, in the desert, to sort of imagine or envision a forest that he has never seen, the smell of a forest, right, how the forest feels like, the humidity, all of that. It is something far-fetched maybe to a person who has never seen trees, has just lived on a desert, something of that sort, right? It is like that. Now, when you are in a wholesome state of mind, you cannot sort of imagine what nirvana is. That is why there's nothing more to it, right? There's nothing more to it. Similarly, even if it is a sense sphere beautiful, still nirvana is far away from you, right? Even from a sense sphere beautiful, which is why we work with concepts, you see. You know, if you would imagine, okay, why are we meditating on concept? Why can't? Because the intricate nature of our mind and the way that we work and operate, I like using this word, we are drama kings and queens. we tend to find fault, find loopholes, find holes, you know, in things that we see in the world, right? And you see, and we have gone through this in the study of kasina, etc. We see, you know, there's a way to build it without the imperfections and all of these things, and where to sit and all of these things. Why? Because then we can't see imperfections, so we will not find fault with the kasina object. Right? That is why we work with concepts to alleviate the mind from these kinds of state. Why? Imagine the Buddha has said the past, the starting of the world is something which is unfathomable. In recorded history, how long does recorded history go? Right? In terms of the dinosaurs and even before that, how when the Big Bang. Just imagine cycling around samsara for that amount of time. And we are here, having found Buddhism, trying to reprogram ourselves and break the shackles of our conditioning in one word. How difficult is that going to be? That is why we work with concepts. You understand? Yes. And the Shraddha, which is grounded by wisdom, allows us to believe in those concepts as reality, which then enables us and gives us the strength to embrace it as ourselves, meaning embrace it as reality, so that then we'll be able to follow it. Do you understand? Right? Now, when
is that a good thing?
Yes.
Is what you say a good thing or not a good thing?
Well, is it a good thing or not a good? It is reality, right? It is the way that it is a cycle of rebirth and death, right? So what I am trying to say is, Susan, when we have such amount of programming, right, or sort of baggage that we are carrying or we've been programmed by, this is the reason that we use concepts to break that. It is a good thing if you're using a good concept. Right? If you're using the kasinas, if you're using the meditation, then it is a good thing, right? But then we know some people use concept of, you know, some people use concept of negativity to sort of measure everything as well. That also happens in the world, right? But here within the Dhamma, we use concept of goodness. Now, for example, the Bodhisattva, the Buddha, remember when, as a Bodhisattva, the stories that are mentioned, when he was mutilated in body, when his body was mutilated, still he would sort of be patient, right, to carry on with his practice. Remember those stories? Right? Now, that depicts to us an important part of the path, or important part of the understanding and grasping necessary to the concepts that we work with. Do you get it? We speak about metta, and then we go on to, you know, the metta kasinas and all of that, the Brahma Viharas. We speak about the other kasinas and other meditative objects. All of this. Our mind, what we train through meditation, through experience, is to make this a part of our life without the difficulty of meditating every day. That is a part of embracing that concept, right?
Can I give a very simple example, Bante?
Yes, Raj.
Whether it is correct. Say now, as teachers, we teach certain things to children, right? The multiplication, do it this way, do it that way. And at the beginning, we don't give a reason why you should do that way, this way. Yeah. Then the child gets used to it. Yeah. And by the time he comes to like grade 7, 8, then we encourage the child to reason out why we are doing that way. So that without just memorizing, then he knows what's the reason behind it. I think that about the concepts you spoke is like that. So we have to first assume things. Then when our mind becomes, I mean, when we are developed enough, we may understand those things. Is it, am I putting it right?
I understand the standpoint that you're trying to work into it, Lakshmi. However, the Buddha does say that Shraddha without wisdom is unbountiful. Hence, also, it is mentioned that the foundation of meditation is wisdom and Shraddha, which would say that this practice is not something that you would do without the knowledge of what it entails. Although we might not clearly understand its fullest extent.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. We don't at the beginning the child doesn't understand why we are doing this.
The fullest extent.
Yeah, but we encourage the child to follow a certain principle. Then later,
you could
understand.
We could take it, Lakshmi. We could take it, but the thing is, the thing is now in the beginning, as a child, I don't think any one of us understood why we are doing it. How 2 + 2 is 4.
Yeah. So,
right? But the thing is here, we are encouraged, of course, if we would take the good virtues, morality, etc., not to hurt beings and all of that, yes, those are things that we sort of tell, this is not something that you do. But when it comes to sitting down and practicing, we are, or in Buddhism, we are expected to know that this is a practice which comes about. Of course, on an experiential level, you only experience the fruit of it when you do it.
Yeah, I'm quite new to this, so I'm trying to understand.
Yeah.
So,
that's fine, Lakshmi, that's fine. I mean, I think it's only the understanding of, its intricate sort of forms that it exists on, but at the end of the day, these concepts in that sort of meditative concept that we are speaking of helps us to sort of break free. So, okay, let us continue, please. Okay, let us continue. Now, is that part understood? What is the last part? We did the unwholesome 12, sensitive, beautiful, disassociated with knowledge, and wholesome 4, functional 4. Do we understand that now?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, good. Moving on. Then we have the sensitive, wholesome consciousnesses associated with knowledge, and the wholesome direct knowledge consciousness consisting in the 5th jhana take all objects except the path and fruit of arahantship. Right? Take all objects except the path and fruit of arahantship. Right? Now, what is that? We come to sense sphere, beautiful, associated with knowledge, wholesome 4, and abhinyana 1. Right? And abhinyana 1. They take all objects except the path and fruit, arahanta, path and fruit. Right? Which is 87 chittas right there. This is going on the 87 chittas. The 52 chetasikas, material 28, nibbana and concept. Nibbana, we must remember, nibbana devoid of, nibbana in the sense of not arahanta, path and fruit, all the rest. Right? And then the concepts. And then the concepts. Right? And then the concept. This is again because arahanta, path and fruition can only be properly seen by one who has actually seen it. Do you understand? Right? For one who has not come to that, now even a sotapanna or a stream enterer is unable to gauge the extent of the arahanta, path and fruition. Even a non-returner is unable to gauge the extent of a arahanta, path and fruition. It is said that it is so much more, right? It is so much more, right? That is the reason that we now find here the sense sphere beautiful associated with knowledge, wholesome 4, and the abhinyana 1 can only take the 87 chittas, the 52 chetasikas, material 28 nibbana concept as object, right? Now remember, when you are looking at this again, what you need is that chitta map in your head, that chitta map, and you need to be able to know the examples, right, to each and every one of those chittas. What can these chittas do? If you know that, this part is easy, right? If you know that, this part is easy, right? Moving on. The sense sphere functionals associated with knowledge, the functional direct knowledge consciousness and determining consciousness can take all kinds of objects. Now, why was it different in the previous? Because it was a wholesome consciousness. Remember, arahants do not perform wholesome, do not create karma.
Yes.
Because of that reason, when we see the word wholesome, you will know it can be everyone except arahants. Do you get it now? Got it? Yeah. Look at the book, right?
Yeah.
And now the second line after that is the sense sphere functions associated with knowledge, the functional direct knowledge consciousness and determining consciousness can all take all objects. Meaning now the functionals, sense sphere beautiful associated with knowledge functionals, the abhinyanas and the mindo adverting can take all objects as objects. Understood? Right? It can take everything as object. Right? It can take everything as object. Any questions? I feel like there's a question mark in the room.
Auntie, what page are we on? Sorry.
Yes. Huh? Who wanted to ask a question?
Can you explain that again, please?
Yes, okay, I will explain. Mala?
Bhante, I'm not clear about the word concept. Can it be something good or something bad as well? When you say concept, it can be kasina and other things, but can it be like something like ditti and other things?
It very well could be. It very well can be. But in this regard, we are referring to concepts as those objects as meditations or those that support.
Oh, I see.
Here.
Yeah, yeah. Because previously we said that the sense sphere javanas can take objects of 3 times and timeless objects, which is concept, isn't it?
Now, when we take concept, this is to say, this is referring to the objects that we use to attain jhana.
Okay. Right.
The objects that we use to attain jhana. That is what we are referring to on concept. The page that we are on is page 141. Rivini.
Thank you, Bhante.
Yeah. Anyone else have any questions? I will explain this again. Okay. So we are going to I'm going to explain the sense sphere beautiful associated with knowledge and the sense sphere beautiful associated with knowledge functional, right? Which is the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, the 5 and bars number 5 and 6, right? All right. You will look at the chart and I will read. The sense sphere wholesome consciousnesses associated with knowledge. Sense sphere wholesome consciousnesses associated with knowledge. Wholesome direct knowledge consisting in the 5th jhana take all objects except path and fruit of arahantship. Why? Because a arahant does not, or within an arahant, wholesome consciousnesses do not arise. within an arahant, we know only functionals arise. But we know the jhanas and these concepts, right? The jhana practice, through the jhana practice, we can attain enlightenment on the other levels except on the other levels, right? And because of that, we know that it can take these things as object, right? But because it is wholesome, we know this person has to be a person who he could have attained to levels of enlightenment except the highest one, which is arahant, because arahants only have functionals, right? Then we move on to the next. The sense sphere functionals associated with knowledge. The sense sphere functionals associated with knowledge. The functional direct knowledge consciousness and determining consciousness can all take all kinds of objects, because now it's functional, right? Being a functional, you know that it has risen to the highest state, right? And being at this state, you can take anything as object, right? You can take anything as object. You can even look at a child being beaten, which is an unwholesome sight, right? And take that as an object as well, right? Even all kinds of object. That is 89 chittas, 52 chetasikas, 28 rupas, nibbana concepts, right? Nibbana and concepts. Do we understand now? Is it clear?
Yes.
Any sort of doubt? Hemamali, you all right there? Okay, good. Yeah. But I'm sorry, I feel like sometimes I'm ignoring the people without their cameras on, you see. So if you need a little bit more attention, just put your hands up. So I hope everyone else, Miri, Chamari, Samantha, all of you all are okay?
Thank you, Bhante. Yes.
Yes, good. All right. So then moving on, right? Then all immaterial consciousnesses, the second and fourth, take sublime objects. All remaining sublime consciousnesses take concepts as objects. The supramundane consciousnesses take nibbana as object, right? Take nibbana as object. Again, all immaterial consciousnesses. How many immaterial consciousnesses are there?
12.
12 immaterial consciousnesses. The second and fourth take sublime objects. All the remaining sublime consciousnesses take concept as objects, and supramundane consciousnesses take a nibbana as object. Now let us look at the chart, right? Let us look at the chart. We have the second and fourth, right? Take the first and third chittas as object. Objects, object. What does that mean? Do we know what that means? Anyone? Mala, I saw your head moving. What does that mean, Mala?
That means if you there are four immaterial chittas. First one is infinite space, and second one is consciousness. Third one is what's the third one?
Nothingness.
Nothingness, and the fourth one is neither perception nor non-perception. So the second one takes the first one, which is infinite space, as the object. And the fourth one, which is neither perception nor non-perception, takes nothingness as the object.
Okay. Why does it take it as object, if you would like to tell us? The progressing on to the next is based on the previous.
Oh, right. Okay.
The progressing we use, we use the object or the concept of the before one, or the practice of the before one, to base it on the proceeding on to the next. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that is why we take the before. Do we understand?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Then FMS. What is FMS?
Fine motor. The fine motor.
Okay.
Fine material.
Fine material.
Fine, fine
I will like fine motor.
my medical knowledge
The
came
medical
at that.
knowledge coming
Medical
in.
knowledge came. FMS is my fine motor, the medical knowledge in the background of my consciousness. At least my memory is not failing, Bante.
All right. So, fine motor. Fine material. All right. So the fine material consciousnesses, right? The 15. The immaterial consciousnesses, the first and the third, take concept as object. Right? Take concept. What is the concept which is taken by the fine material? The cussiness.
Kasina, yes.
Right? The cussiness. We remember that all of the samatha objects, the tranquility meditation subjects, all when developed, progress into developing some sort of nimitta. Remember? Right? Even if it is anapanasati, even if it is color cussiness or elemental cussiness or the Brahma Viharas, all of these things develop a certain nimitta. That nimitta is the concept that we are referring to here. Understood?
Yes.
Yeah, because based on that, yes, Dil.
Bante, now we said the second and the fourth take the preceding one, the first and the third. So I can understand in the next column, the first one is taking a concept.
Yeah.
Why can't the third one take the second one? It's a preceding one. So
Why
if
can't the third one?
yeah, now first and third, I can understand the first taking the concept of a kasina.
Yeah.
So why can't the third one there, the material,
All right.
why can't it take the second one?
Yeah. Because now, what are the four materials?
So
Anchayatana.
yeah, then Vinyayantana, the focus. Akasana, then there's Vinyayantana, and then there is Akasana, Vinyanata, then Akincha Nayatana, and then this Deva Sanya Nasanyaya.
All right. Okay. What is the meaning?
The first one is a boundless space, the Akasana.
one is boundless.
Consciousness.
Correct. The third is?
Nothingness.
The fourth is?
Neither perception nor non-perception.
Correct. Now look at it in that way. The second must take the first. The third can't take the second. It's completely different. It's too much of a disparity there, you see. The boundless. Remember the meditation instructions that I gave you in regards to this chapter. I told how it is developed, right? The boundless space, Akasananchayatana to Vinyananchayatana, the Vinyananchayatana is developed on the missingness of the space, which is the first element.
Yes. Yes.
That is why it is second taking the first and the fourth taking the third. Because the third can't take the second because the disparity between those consciousnesses are too much.
Oh, all right.
You get it?
Okay.
Right? It is, if you revisit the chapter on this one, when we spoke about Nevasanya and that sort of meditation instruction which is there, you will get it. Right? If you have any doubts, any further doubts. Right? The Nevasanya Nasanya Akinchanyayatana and the Nevasanya Nasanyayatana, the now Nevasanya is neither perception nor non-perception. That is a very subtle state of mind. That has to arise depending upon something which is along those lines. Now, Vinyananchayatana and Akasananchayatana is far away from that position. That is why. Okay.
Okay.
Then takes concept, and then the supramundane, which is the easiest, has to take Nibbana as object. Has to take Nibbana as object. Right? Do we understand? Any questions?
So I have a question, Bante.
Yes.
On the chart, we see supramundane 8 and the earlier line 21, 6, 6. What do those numbers stand for? The numbers right of the word, like you see on the chart, supramundane.
Yeah.
Then you see 8.
Consciousnesses.
Yeah.
8
So
consciousnesses.
8 is the number of
Number
consciousness.
consciousnesses.
Okay, of the supramundane.
Yes. So there are 8 supramundane consciousnesses.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, Susan. All right. So shall we move on?
Bante, I had a question.
Yes.
How can you take Nibbana as the object if we are not entirely sure of what Nibbana is exactly?
Yes. Now that is why in the earlier states of consciousnesses, we can't take Nibbana as object. Nibbana can only be taken as object when we come to a certain level. Now this certain level includes, now let us go to the chart, please, all of you, right? Now look at where the Nibbhanas are, right? Now we find the Nibbhanas on the sense sphere, beautiful, associated with knowledge, wholesome, 4, right? Now,
Yes.
that onward we find Nibbana there. Now, what does this say? Now, a sense sphere, beautiful, associated with knowledge, consciousness, can it arise within a Sotapanna, Sakutagami, and Anagami? I will hold on in English. A stream enterer, once returner, and a non-returner. Can the beautiful consciousness arise in this kind of an enlightened being? It can. That is where then we have the possibility. We have the possibility where that person could be within this beautiful consciousness that we speak of. Right? Now we can also experience sense sphere beautiful consciousnesses with knowledge and without knowledge, both of that. But are we able to take Nibbana as object?
No.
Exactly. So, Rimini, we are speaking of the potential that a person has in terms of if this chitta can arise within an enlightened being. So it is not just us. It includes all the rest of the beings up until non-returner who can muster this kind of consciousness. But for us, of course, we can't take the Nibbana object. Because why? We have not enlightened at least 3 metric.
Thank you, Bante.
Did I answer your question? Yeah?
Yes, Bante. Thank you.
Is that clear to everyone else as well?
Yes.
Okay, good. That was a good question. All right. So it's 8:33. It's 8:33. Time passed, isn't it? All right. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up for today?
Yes, I have a question.
Sorry.
Okay, Susan. Yes.
Okay, thank you then. So I just attended another class and I heard the Bante there say that the people born around the time of the Buddha are more pure, I guess. That's maybe my words. I forgot what he said. More blessed, more pure, more. And so the people born further and further, years and years and years away from the Buddha is less pure. Does it mean we are less pure?
No.
Yeah.
Does that all make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I wouldn't use the word pure, to be very honest with you. I wouldn't use the word pure, but I would use, this is said, I mean, let me not tell you what I think. Let me tell you what the book says, right? It says that people who are born within the time of the Buddha, there is a higher propensity for these beings to be either Uggatitanyu or Vipanchitanyu, which means that they can listen to the Buddha and attain enlightenment. Now, that is a possibility that we do not have. We don't have a Buddha now, no, we have his Dhamma though, right? So, beings born during this time are usually Neya or Padapara. Neya means beings who are able to enlighten during this birth, but must practice samatha vipassana, right? Padaparama means beings who are unable to attain enlightenment at this birth, but can do so from the next birth onwards. So these beings must practice sila, samadhi, and panya ardently, right? So it is not to say that beings are more purer at the time, but it would be much more accurate to say that beings, that possibly there were beings who had a higher capacity to attain enlightenment, who were born at the time because of their previous experience in the path of practice.
Yes, makes sense.
You know, so it is said that according to the according to, yes, the Metta Sutta commentary, as I remember, it is said that all of us have received some sort of dana from the Buddha when he was practicing as a bodhisattva, right? And that was one of his, to that extent, he has lived in this world practicing as a bodhisattva for such a long time that he has met all of us. And it says that we have all received some sort of dana, either whether it is food or something else from the Buddha. However, we have not been the fortunate ones to receive the teachings from the Buddha and attain enlightenment. So that is probably why we need to practice and sort of fulfill our paramis to a high extent, not to see the Buddha and attain enlightenment, but to make sure that we sort of get the best out of the teachings.
Yes,
right?
Makes sense.
And
That's why.
Yeah, yes, Susan.
That's why we say with honesty, Dhamma Saranam Gacchami. Is that correct?
Yes.
Dhamma Saranam Gacchami.
Yes, absolutely. So it is, I think, in that sense, with the lives that we all live, we know that Dhamma does have a practical element in bringing us happiness, right? Not to sort of embellish us in a different form of reality, but for us to be able to understand this existing form of reality as it is, isn't it? You know.
Yes.
So in that way, that is what I like about the Dhamma personally. So okay, so I will see you. Yes.
Bhante, can I ask something, please?
Okay. Yes.
But I'm sorry, Bhante. So that first category was Uggati Panna, was it? Where by seeing a Buddha you can realize Nibbana in this birth is Uggati Panna, is it?
Uggati Tanyu.
Uggati Tanyu. And then next you said Neya, where you said you have to practice Samatha Vipassana to realize Neya what, Bhante?
Uggati Tanyu Neya Padaparama.
No, so second one is just Neya, Padaparama.
Neya and Padaparama, yes.
Right. So Neya means that practicing Samatha Vipassana to realize Nibbana in this world for the possibility. And other one is Padaparama. Right. So that is where that you practice Sila Samadhi Panya, but unable to realize Nibbana this birth, but possible next birth.
Yes.
Thank you, Bhante. Sorry about that.
So Susan, I believe that you have joined the class recently. So if you would like to, we do have all of the recordings on our YouTube channel. The links are available on the website. You can also subscribe to the Dhamma Center on the website, so you will receive all the notices about the classes and all of that, Susan. Okay. So Devika,
thank you.
Yes, my Bhante, can you please put this recording also in the website, because it helped us a lot to be ready for this class by reading the other one.
Yeah, I will put this up tonight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhante. Thank you.
So any other questions? No? All right. So then I will see you all on Wednesday.
Wednesday.
So take care. Good night and see you soon.
Okay, Buddha Sanlai.
Thank you very much, Bhante.